All right, guys, welcome back to the Brand to Table podcast. Today's guest, a dear friend of mine for quite some time now. And I got to tell you, man, he's very, very inspiring. The story that he told me as he was coming up in the restaurant business was very inspiring to me. It reminded me, like, when I was a kid and where I started and my roots, and, nothing was ever really given or handed to him. He had to work for every little bit of it. And I'm sure some of you out there can resonate with a similar story. So without further ado, I want to introduce Tom from Anthony Franco's. What's going on, my dude?
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. So this is a long time coming, man. I told you when I first started the show that like you had to be one of the first few guests on the show. So I'm happy you're here. Talk to me about and share with the audience the story of how you became
Anthony Franco's.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting actually. Just because I never thought I would end up in restaurant.
No way.
What'd
you want to be when you grew up?
I was just like everyone else 20 years ago. Everyone wanted to be cops. So we all wanted to be cops,
Same.
And it's like,
yeah,
everything I did, brought me back to restaurant, and, I tell everyone when I first started in the industry, I started as a delivery driver.
Okay.
It was a high school gig, never thought anything would come about of it. And, I didn't like it. I didn't like anything about it. It was stressful. It was, it was just not, it was a part-time gig that I didn't think I would stick with it.
Yeah.
And every time I left, I went back. It just kept bringing me back. And then at one point it finally clicked like, okay, this is me. This is what I'm meant to do. And
was there one moment that made you feel that?
You know what? When you're young, it's hard to, young in my like 19, 20. I think once I hit like 22, 23 and I was still in it, I was like, okay, maybe this is
a path
for me.
Yeah.
And then when I started truly taking it seriously, that's when I actually started enjoying it.
So talk to me about that. What are some of the bigger lessons you learned as you're working up through the ranks of Anthony Franco's? Because for some of the folks that don't know, Anthony Franco's has 14 locations. Tom owns 2 of them. So there's quite a few of them out there. So it's a decently sized organization.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people think we're a franchise. Because of the number of locations we have. But we are, we say family-owned business. There's a bunch of partners involved. So, we're like family.
Sure.
We're not like, your typical franchise where you can buy the name. It's a private, so it's just us,
Okay.
There's a handful of guys and, we all operate our stores. Everyone does things slightly different. There's different cooks. There's different, chefs. Everyone has a different, hand when it comes to flavor, this and that. But for the most part, Anthony Franco's, all locations are fairly similar.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So let's go back to the lessons learned, like coming up through the ranks.
Learned. I think one of the lessons is to try and minimize your stress level. Try not to beat yourself up over the small things. You take, when you have a passion for something and you want to be successful with it, you obviously, take things to heart and you try and, make it as perfect as possible. But with that comes a lot of stress. In this industry, especially a lot of stress, everything's quick. You got your, things got to come in and go out, and quality's got to be there. And so I kind of, as I got older, I'm kind of learning to not really stress over the small things, and focus on the big picture.
So it's patience.
Patience. I don't know if it's with age I'm getting patient. I don't know if my kids are making me patient. My wife, it's...
So are there any sort of mindset tricks or habits that you do sort of behind the scenes to help you manage your patience?
You know what? I think, honestly, a lot of it is trying to stay away. I used to obsess. I used to be there, 6-7 days a week. And after a while, you definitely get burnt out, and that obviously the more tired you are, the more irritated you get and the more stress you get.
Right.
So, I have, especially with kids now, I try and do the family thing a lot more. Sundays is definitely my day where I
No phone.
Very minimal.
Good.
Very minimal.
Good.
You know, I still, obviously answer calls if I have to, but my staff knows, that's kind of my day to
don't bother Tom on Sundays.
Yeah, you got to regroup. Otherwise you're going to go crazy,
Yeah.
But that's, I think as, just managing that stress,
Yeah.
because, it's not easy. It's a very tough industry. It's 7 days a week. You got long hours. You got,
on your feet.
Yeah.
It's not like you're sitting in a corner office watching from a camera.
No.
You're out and about.
Yeah.
So talk to me about this. There's a ton of pizzerias in New Jersey. I mean, some people call it like the Mecca of pizza, What makes Anthony Franco's stand out from all the other pizza shops around?
I think a lot of it has to do with quality, our quality. I think the volume is a huge that's a huge aspect to what we do. Obviously the more volume you're pushing out, the less the food's sitting around, the fresher everything is. You got these small mom and pops, they're obviously ordering what they need, but if the food's not moving, it's still,
it's sitting.
Yes.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, just to put an example, we actually, this past weekend, we had someone reach out to us. They had a passing in the family, and it was a last minute repast. They needed food for 180 people.
Woof.
This was on Friday, Halloween. How do I pass that up? I mean, I was running around trying to take care of Halloween, but at the same time, it's like you want to. First of all, you want to help. Second of all, you don't want to lose out on that kind of sale.
Right.
It's a big,
Catering order.
So, I asked my chef in the back in Sparta if he can handle it, and he said, "Yeah, of course." So, I mean, they got me what they wanted. I put it together, say 3:00 on Friday, and we had it out the next day by 3:00. I mean, there's not many kitchens in New Jersey that can do that.
Yeah.
So that's a huge aspect of who we are. We can, people call in $200-$300 orders in the middle of our rush hour, and we get it done.
Wow.
That's a lot of places can't do that.
So you're making me think now, like we've known each other for quite some time. I don't think you had ever said no to me.
Yeah.
Ever.
You try, no.
When it comes to ordering,
Yeah.
like you've never, I remember my wife wanted some ridiculous sub for, I think it was New Year's or whatever. She wanted like the 6 or 8 foot sub, and you were like, just give me an hour. I just got to see if I can get the bread.
It's funny. I think it happened to me once. We went to a diner, and my wife wanted something very slightly different off the menu, and she said no, and it kind of irked me. I would never say anything since I'm in the industry. Right. I don't want to be that person.
Right.
But I always told myself that's that's not us. I try and you have to cater to your customers. You have to answer these people. You have to engage with these people. You have to be there. Like my worst thing for a business, like say I'm dealing with another business, is when they don't respond back to you, or that
they ghost you.
Yes, that is the worst thing ever, and that's like my huge. I guess that's my huge
pet peeve.
Yeah, no matter how bad the situation is or what the problem is, or if I'm at work, I make calls to customers when I'm away on vacation, especially if it's something bad. Yeah, it's my wife sometimes thinks I'm crazy. But
You get the back of the hand.
You have to always, it doesn't matter, and we have how many, you look at Sparta, how many customers do we have? We have tons of customers, but everyone matters to us, and I think if that ever was to change for me and that didn't matter to me, I think that's when I start stepping out, because you have to cater to these people.
Yeah. So let's talk about social media. Social media has become a huge part of the restaurant marketing scene, right? So what's been your approach to using social media, and how has it impacted your business?
So I'll be the first to tell you, social media and me are like oil and vinegar.
Oil and water? Or oil and vinegar? Oil and vinegar go together.
They go to oil and water.
I love it.
Terrible. I was never good with computers. I was never into, technology. So I was always the last one to get Facebook, or when we first started was
MySpace?
MySpace.
Now we're showing our age.
I was the last one to even get involved in that.
Yeah.
So I never really had any passion towards it. So, but I know how important it is.
Yeah.
And I think you showed me that as well. And I think, honestly, for any advice for any restaurant owners, you want to get the professionals involved. First of all, we have such a busy schedule as it is. Mm-hmm. The last thing I want to do is come home and start doing stuff on, social media. Right. But it's important. It's truly important. It's if you look at, wherever you go, people are on their phone.
I know.
You're driving on the highway. You got people, they're on their phone. You're at,
a little scary.
Yeah, in my store, you look around. Everyone's on their phone. Yeah, it's not good. I don't think it's good for our society. But that's just how it is. You gotta kind of roll with the punches. You gotta go. That's how society is, and you want to make money. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know enough about it. I think, putting people like you in front of me, it just like that whole new system you were telling me about. I would have never even known about that.
The DM automation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that is, I definitely believe you need professionals. You need, Google's huge in this day and age now. Instagram, Facebook, all that is.
How do you decide what content to share? Because that was a question that came up to me not too long ago, and I said, that's a really good question. I want to ask some restaurant owners about that. So, how involved are you personally in that process when it comes to?
I try and micromanage as much as possible. My hardest decision, or not my hardest decision, but my hardest part of what I was doing was micromanaging everything. So once I opened up the 2 stores, that was like the biggest part, is letting people do the work, because I was so hands-on.
Yeah.
Now, you step back, you let these people do what they have to do.
Yeah.
It's a little bit stressful when you're someone like myself, but you learn to cope with it.
Yeah.
When it comes to social media, I listen to my friend Henry. Henry tells me what to do, and I say, yes, sir.
Listen, man, I only want to lead you in the right direction.
And you always have.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't step on your toes,
Yeah.
Everything we've done has been working well, and we have to keep pushing, and, we need, we have some good operators in town, not saying names, but, there's other pizzerias in town that do a very good job on their social media, and we have to try and keep up.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And that's important,
Yeah.
So.
I just want to share with everybody the day when I said to you, I think we need to get you more involved in social media, like your face.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I thought right away he was going to say to me, get the hell out of my store. We're done. And he didn't. And it goes back before to what I said. I don't think he ever said no to me, because he said, you know what? Fine. Let's do it. I brought them the next time we came, we brought the mic, we mic'd them up, and he just went into it. He was talking about how the dish was made. And after that session, I said to him, Tom, you're like a natural, dude. You just did your thing. Like, you didn't even see the camera there. You just did your thing, and you came across. And I think that's what people love about it. We were talking about this off camera. Like, when I mentioned Anthony Franco's, they're like, oh yeah, Tom. I love Tom. Tom's the best. Like, they associate
the brand with myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a people love that, people hate that, but I think it works for you guys quite a bit.
I definitely, like I said, a lot of times now, I feel like if you want to, excel in business, you got to kind of get out of your comfort zone.
So that's a good, I'm so happy you mentioned that. So I want you to talk to other listeners out there that are typically restaurant owners or chefs or whatever. If they're skeptical in investing in marketing, what would you say to them?
Just do it. Like, sitting here right now. This is not me. You know that. I'm not one for spotlight. I'm not one to, talk about myself, but I know this is something that, needs to be done. People like it,
And dude, even today, you're sitting across, we're just having a conversation. Yeah, the lights are a little intimidating and his heart's pounding.
A little nervous. Yeah.
But we're just having a conversation. And I think that's what people need to see. And I think that's what is going to differentiate restaurants from the competition. And it's so important.
I think with the whole social media, like, okay, it's great to have pictures of your food, but a lot of people really, really like seeing yourself, owners, employees in the work scene. They like to see that stuff. So I think that's important, and that's uncomfortable. Like the whole thing with you telling me about, all right, let's mic up. I'm like, oh, but you know what? It's just you.
But
just
you see the
gotta do
videos.
it. Yeah,
you see the videos.
They come out good.
Yeah. So I think that worked out. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about how involved you are with the community. I mean, you do quite a bit of community service and you get involved in a lot of things. So why is that so important to you?
Super important. It's probably one of the most important things, at least in our line of our type of restaurant. We are targeting families, kids, and that's where you have to go. You have to go where your clientele is. And it can't always be, take, you got to give, know, because it'll come back. It always comes back. And people really like to see that, especially when it comes to sports, with different organizations, clubs. They love that. And look, does it get a little stressful? Yes, of course, because there comes a time where it's like, wow, everybody's coming at you. And it's like, man, is there anyone else in town that doesn't?
How do you, that's a good question, because that happens to quite a bit of my clients as well. Like take out a half-page article here, or take out, can you sponsor my team's jerseys? Like, how do you manage the influx of the ask?
I try, and obviously when you get to know who your customers are. Yeah. So I definitely don't like to push away from people I know.
Sure.
People that come in and are customers and they spend at our stores, you want to, help as much as possible. So if someone comes in and I've never really seen them, or it's, I try and keep it as local as possible. Like I don't like to go too far out of the towns, because it's just not coming back.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of.
But you bring up a good point. It sounds to me like the relationship is first and foremost.
Yeah.
And I think that determines whether or not, if the relationship is built, you're more prone to do.
Oh, without a doubt.
Right?
Yes.
And I think that is so important, because restaurants, I think that's why I love this industry, and I decided to niche down in it so hard, is because I am so relationship first.
Yeah. It's huge.
Right?
And that's how you grow your business.
That's it. I mean, I could not be doing what I'm doing today without the people that helped me along the way.
Oh, without a doubt.
Right.
Same.
And you try to give it back as much as you can.
I don't always understand. There's a lot of times where you go into these smaller, not necessarily smaller joints, but there's just some angry owners, and they kind of express it to their customers, and it's like, how are you doing that?
I know.
You have to be so polite to these people. You have to bend over backwards for everyone.
Yeah.
Even especially this day and age, there's so much competition today.
Yeah.
You have to. Sometimes maybe we go a little overboard, but in my stores, the customer's always right. They really are. Okay. Sometimes we really have to bite our tongue.
Yeah.
Especially on a Friday night. But that's how you get repeat,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I mean, because again, like you said, there's so many places to choose from.
Yes.
Back in the day, there's maybe one or two spots in town, and
Sparta alone has like 7 pizzerias within like a mile radius.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. So how do you do it, right? And it comes down to relationship.
Yep.
It comes down to relationship. What advice would you give other restaurant owners that are looking to get more involved with their local community, but don't know how to start? Like they don't know how to break through.
I would say, listen to your customers. Your customers are going to come to you, and they're going to, they're going to be your soccer moms. They're going to be your football coaches. They're going to be your gymnastic coaches, and just listen to them.
Yeah.
They'll come to you with what they need, and, work with them. I'm not saying every time someone comes to me, I do the platinum package, because I don't. But you know what? I'll do the silver package, or bronze package.
Yeah.
Just and that it might not even that
ROI,
it might not even come back.
Right.
But you know how those people they like that, and then they'll come back, and then their friends will come back, and it's just a rotating door.
Listen, I'm a true believer is what you give is what you get, and it might not come right away.
Correct.
Right. And I see where I struggle in business. I just had this like epiphany not too long ago. So this year was my first year really of not being a CMO at a big hospitality group in the last 3 years or so, and realizing that like a lot of the struggles that I was dealing with in the beginning of the year came down to fear, and came down to me saying, well, I was living very scarce. Like, oh, I can't do that because I don't have the money. I can't do that because we don't have enough revenue generated yet. When I let go of all of that and just said, buddy, you're going to be okay. Just do it. Yeah, right? Yeah. And I just let all that fear go. Oh my God. Everything just started opening up. Like different clients started reaching out, and it was like, or different venues that I never thought in a million years I'd do business with. And now they become a client. Yeah, we're going to start with a 3-month package. We're going on month 10, and I'm like, holy smokes. But just letting go of that fear, and right. And just saying, listen,
taking risks.
Yeah, it might not happen right away, but if I just go into it with the positive attitude, it's going to come back. And you just said it. So makes a lot of sense. Let's go into, because again, this podcast is about branding and relationships and growth and all of that. How do you motivate? You can have some tough days over there at Anthony Franco's. I see the volume that you guys pump out. How do you keep the staff motivated?
I guess I would say you want to keep the morale as relaxed as possible. You don't want to put too much stress on them as an owner. Obviously, you want to correct them if they do something wrong, but you don't want to be breathing down these guys' necks either. There's some operators out there that are really, they're tough, and I don't know if that's, at least in my opinion, I don't take that approach. I try and you don't want to be too friendly, because you can't, there's got to be a line, where if you get too friendly, then that respect level goes,
It does.
But you have to be friendly, but you have to be firm at the same time, if that makes any sense. But you want to be there for your people. You want to, if there's an issue, if they're sick or this, you gotta, have some kind of,
empathy.
Yes. Yeah. It's, they're not, these people are not robots, and that's a huge part of, just keeping the morale at the store, high and happy and, and not so stressful is my approach to it.
I hear this a lot. Hard to find good help. Yes. Hard to find good team members. What do you look for in because this has a lot of branding components to it. What do you look for in a new hire?
That's a tough question. I tell you, this day and age, it's very hard to, not many people want to work in restaurant. The hours are long.
They'd rather be a YouTuber.
Yes. Yeah. They want an influencer, where they're coming in, eating your food and making millions. I
wish it was that real, but it's not. But so are you looking for, I always went off of, you don't need to be the elite athlete. You had to have the personality.
I think, you know what, to me, honestly, accountability.
Yeah.
That's probably the most. Yeah. All that other stuff, that can all be ironed out.
Right. You could teach them. Yes. Right. The skills.
If you're not accountable and if you're not there every day at the time you're supposed to be, then it's not going to work.
Right.
It's, being on time is a huge thing for us. You have to, look, I totally get it. things happen on a daily basis. You're not going to be there at, exactly 10 o'clock or 9:55. But, even if you're 5 minutes late, 7 minutes late here, stuff like that, that's okay. You're there. You're ready to work.
Yeah.
The worst is when you get guys coming in 20, 25 minutes late. It's like, hey, man.
You got to have that conversation.
Because then they see, everyone's watching. Your whole staff is always watching. So if you're letting one guy slide, oh, well, if he's coming in now, and then, then your staff's coming at 10:30 when they should be there at 10. So that's when you got to kind of put the kibosh.
Yeah. And then how many strikes do you give them?
I mean, all depends on the situation, all depends the time of the year.
Yeah.
A lot of times, summertime, it's hard to find help, so you're going to look a little bit, the other way, whereas, wintertime, it gets a little easier. People want to work rather than be doing, the beach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, luckily we're at a point now where we have a fairly good staff where it's only a few stragglers here and there that I have to hire. So, or the college or the high school kids, which can be very difficult. But
I mean, I remember it's tough, especially being that age. Like
what we did with the whole, the kids don't want to work like what we did 20 years ago. They want to put in their 5-10 hours a week. So now what we've did is we just hire more.
Oh.
So you have to have a volume of employees to cover your schedule because they're only working 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week. So that's okay. Another way of.
I always see those now hire inside, so it makes sense.
I leave them up.
Just leave them up.
Yeah.
Just leave them up.
So.
Let me ask you this: looking back, what's one decision that you made that had the biggest impact on your growth as an owner?
Saving my money.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, saving money was probably.
Were you a big spender?
No.
Oh, you weren't?
No, it was one of my best traits is
nice.
I was always very frugal with my money. But that gave me the possibilities to do what I am now.
Yeah.
It gave me the possibility to open up Sparta, open up Roxbury, to it gave me opportunities, without, if I spent all my money, opportunity would come. But if you don't have the money to invest in it, then you can't go with it.
That's right.
So that's probably one of my biggest traits is saving money.
Yeah. People, the Jamie from E Clean Bro, he said the same thing. He said the easiest thing to do in business, and especially this business, is to spend money.
Yes, money flies. Money flies.
And he said, save your money and or use it wisely, right? And as I get older, I see. So when I didn't have any money, I spent it like crazy. But when I actually had some money,
you want to
hang on to it. Because I remember one of my business coaches is like, it's not how much money you make, Henry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's how much you keep.
Yep.
And that stuck with me. And
it's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have $1 million business, but if it's costing you $1.1 million,
right?
How much money do you
have? Or $975,000.
Yeah.
What's it worth, right?
Now, as I'm getting older now with kids and stuff like that, obviously I'm spending a little more.
Yeah,
but that's definitely one of my bigger traits.
It's like the Brady Bunch, you guys. How's your wife doing?
She's hanging on.
Good.
She's hanging on. Yeah.
Good.
We got a couple months left.
Oh, that's awesome. You have 3 kids and you have twins on the way. God bless you, man.
Yeah.
God bless you. That's awesome. What's next for you in the Anthony Franco's brand? What's going on? Are you thinking about store number 3 or what?
I would be lying if I said I didn't. I would love to. It's just a matter of managing my time.
Yeah, bandwidth.
That, and, obviously I have to give my wife some help for the next couple months. Sure. So that's going to it's not going to push me back, but I just, I have to do a little family, have to focus family.
Absolutely. If you want them, right?
With 5 kids, it's going to be a lot. But at the same time, you have to feed those kids, so, another income would be great, but it's a commitment, a big commitment. And, definitely sacrificed a lot of my time already, for business. So I'd like to, possibly enjoy a little bit.
Yeah. And then it's back on the horse.
That's it.
All right. Last question. This is a big one. If there's one thing every restaurant owner listening could learn from your story, your personal story, what would it be?
What would they learn from me? You know, that was the question that I saw. I'm like, I hope he doesn't ask me that question.
That's the one.
I guess they can learn from me that, you know, not everything is comfortable, you know. A lot of stuff, you know, like being here was definitely an uncomfortable situation for me. But, you know, as we started talking, it became very comfortable.
Yes.
Same with the videos on social media, you know, very uncomfortable, but now it's comfortable.
Yeah.
So if they, you know, learn something from me, I guess go outside your elements, because I've started to, and it's going to pay off.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that, because I do a lot of meditation in the morning. Like, I do not get out of bed without at least an hour of meditation. So the earbuds go in and I am out. And I study a lot of Stoicism. And at first I thought Stoicism is like those people that like sit in a corner, they don't talk to anybody, and it's like they're like quiet, but that's not Stoicism whatsoever. But but as I learn more about it and that philosophy, one of the big philosophies is what stands in the way becomes the way. And I tried to fight that so hard. Like, is that the truth? Like, is that real? And I just remember going back in my story, like every time I just said, F it, I'm going to do it. The thing that scares me the most
gives you the most success, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to do it. And to your point, on the other side of that, it's like, that wasn't that scary at all.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we play these scenarios in our head, like, I'm going to lose all my money. Like, I sat one day and I said, if I lost it all, what would I do? And I wrote it down. I was like, just start again.
Yeah. You know, that's like, you know, all the very successful business owners, they all took risks.
Yeah.
You know, they all took huge risk, and that without risk, no reward, right?
That's what they say. And, you know, I say to myself, and the past few months have been very interesting. Like, I'm noticing a lot of people in my world, they're passing, like young guys, older guys. And it's like, I don't know what the universe is trying to tell me, but it's telling me something.
Enjoy your life.
Yeah, that's it, man. You only get one shot at this. And I love this saying, like, none of us are getting out of here alive.
Yep.
So why not try to do your best and push that day to see how you could become better than yesterday?
And you know what I'm big on too? At the end of the day, none of it matters.
That's right.
You're not taking anything with you.
No. What did they say? You never see a hearse with a U-Haul?
Yeah. We stress so hard about all these crazy things that don't mean anything. Money, and unfortunately that's it. It's so money driven, our society now, that, you know, we just have to relax.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you're very family oriented, and I think, you know, that's very instilled in my family as well. And I think that's what drives us, and that's what keeps us grounded, and that's what keeps us going, you know?
Of course.
So it's just amazing. And it's a phenomenal story. And to all you guys out there, if you're ever up in Sparta, Roxbury area, you have to check out Anthony Franco's. You will find Tom in one of those locations. I promise you.
I might not be in the front. I'll probably be in the back, but I'm there.
Yeah, but again, we've been going there for years, and Tom's been a phenomenal client of ours for quite some time now. I think we're going on 2 years.
Yep,
and we'll continue to help you as much as we can, and get you out in front of as many people as we can. And again, I love you as a person, and I appreciate all the business that you've given us as well.
I appreciate it. Thanks for helping us. It's definitely working out. So
yeah. So guys, that's a wrap. Another one in the books. Again, make sure you go check out on social media, Anthony Franco's Sparta, Anthony Franco's Roxbury. You will see Tom's cute mug out there making sandwiches and making pizzas on social media now, if I have anything to do with it still. Go check it out. The food is phenomenal, and you're always going to have a great personal connection there with the team. I've met quite a bit of the team since I've been around, and they're all just sweethearts. So go check them out. If you haven't yet subscribed to this show on YouTube or any of the podcast platforms like Spotify, please do. And again, share this show with anybody in the industry that you think could get value out of it. I appreciate it, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I'll keep bringing you the heat. I'll see you on the next episode. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next one.